Ammo shelves have been acting real strange lately, and I'm watching the same ugly patterns from 2020 start creeping back in. So I did what I always do when the market starts getting twitchy. I pulled the calibers that historically disappear first. I checked the supply pipeline. I looked at the import choke points. I dug through the restriction stuff because I don't want you standing there empty-handed, right when everybody else starts panic buying like it's a sport. I'm Tommy from the Armory, and today you need to stick around because the calibers I'm about to show you are the ones that can straight up save your butt when the shelves go dry. Before we dive in, do me a solid, smash that subscribe, tap the bell, hit all the buttons down there. You don't have to, but it keeps this train rolling, and it lets me keep cranking out this wild gun talk for y'all. All right, enough of that. Let's get back to it. Number 1, 22 long rifle. 22 long rifle is always the first caliber I stack deep because the pattern never changes. Every major ammo crunch in the last 15 years. This round gets wiped out before anything else. When stores tighten inventory or panic buying kicks off, 22 long rifle disappears fast, and it makes sense. Everybody grabs it. First-time shooters, old heads, folks buying just in case. They buy it by the bucket. Here's the problem. Rimfire factories can't just flip a switch overnight. Rimfire production is slower, more finicky, and it's way more sensitive to supply chain hiccups. Once Rimfire falls behind demand, it stays behind demand for months. Another reason I treat 22 long rifle like a serious caliber is value. It covers a ridiculous number of roles without torching your wallet. If I want reps without burning money, this is the cheapest trigger time you can buy. If I'm handling pests, small game, or just wandering the woods and knocking around, it does the job clean. Even folks who don't consider it defense ammo still buy it heavy because it's small, it stores easy, and you can move a lot of it without needing a truck bed. That combo is exactly why it vanishes in every buying surge. The big advantage of 22 long rifle is value per space. A few bricks barely take up room, but the payoff in training, survival use, and long-term security is huge. If I own anything chambered in 22 long rifle, I treat a multi-thousand round stash as bare minimum. It's the one caliber I never let run low, because when the market gets weird, it gets hit the hardest. Number 2, 9mm. 9mm lives in a different category for me, because this is the handgun round the entire country leans on. No cap. Law enforcement runs it. Concealed carriers run it. First-time buyers run it. Rental ranges run it. Everybody runs 9mm. And when the FBI and a ton of major departments moved back to 9mm from 40, that cemented it as the default service caliber. That means standing contracts, constant consumption, and way more demand pressure than most folks realize. So when anything stresses the system, 9mm is one of the first centerfire calibers to spike in price and vanish off shelves. You see it every single time. National scare, political push, election cycle tension, high-profile shootings hit the news, or there's talk about new restrictions, and cases of 9mm start flying out the door. Ranges burn through pallets, because every new shooter starts on 9mm. Defensive ammo gets hit the hardest. Cheap full metal jacket might hang around a little longer. But the good hollow points and the bonded duty loads, those get snapped up quick. Once those are gone, whatever is left jumps in price, and people start panic buying the scraps. Because 9mm is so common, I don't treat a couple boxes like I have ammo. If my main carry gun is 9mm, or my nightstand gun is 9mm, or my training pistol is 9mm, I want a real buffer, enough ball ammo to practice, plus a clean reserve of my chosen defensive load, sitting untouched. If things tighten again, I want to be the person still training, not the person whining that a basic range trip suddenly costs double. Number 3, 223 and 556. When I look at rifle ammo that actually matters long-term, 223 and 556 sit right at the top. This is AR food. Most of America runs it. Weekend shooters, cops, and a ton of smaller agencies with patrol rifles riding in the car. Anytime politics heats up around assault weapons, people don't just buy rifles. They clear the shelves on 556 and 223, and that crushes supply way faster than casual rifle owners expect. You see the pattern on repeat. Talk of bans, big protests, global drama, and this caliber gets hammered. Here's another angle people sleep on. Military and government demand chews up a massive chunk of global 5.56 production. The US and NATO partners ship insane amounts of small arms ammo to conflict zones. And when that ramps up, commercial lines don't magically gain extra capacity just for civilians. If anything, factories prioritize the contracts already locked in. On top of that, training facilities, carbine classes, and three-gun matches run heavy on 2.23 and 5.56. So civilian consumption stays high, even in quiet years. If you've got an AR or any rifle in this caliber, I treat ammo like a fuel bill. I want one pile for training and a separate pile that's my hard reserve, especially whatever defensive or duty load actually runs well in my gun. If things get weird again, I'd rather be the guy still zeroing optics and running drills than the guy arguing over the last 2 boxes at the counter. Number 4. 12-gauge slugs and buckshot. Shotgun folks get hit with a very specific problem. A store can have a whole wall of 12-gauge, and most of it is birdshot. Great for clays, fine for small game. But the defensive stuff you actually want for home protection? Gone. During the 2020 ammo mess, people were posting shelf pics where the only 12-gauge left was light target loads, while buckshot and slugs were completely wiped out. That happens because hunters, cops, and home defense guys are all drawing from the same pool. Quality 00 buck, good slugs, same pool. Meanwhile, manufacturers lean hard into high-volume target and game loads, because that's what big retailers move every day. Law enforcement also burns more premium 12-gauge buck than most people think. Even with patrol rifles taking over the primary long gun slot, shotguns are still in cruisers, still used for breaching, still trained with. That means constant orders for specific patterns. 00 buck, reduced recoil loads. At the same time, defensive shotgun ammo uses different wads, buffering, stricter quality control than bulk birdshot, so it costs more to make, and it doesn't get cranked out at the same pace. When supply chains tighten or components get scarce, the niche stuff falls behind first. If my main home gun is a pump or semi-auto 12-gauge, I don't gamble on those cycles. I want a real stash of my chosen buckshot and a smaller but solid stash of slugs for barrier or distance work. The goal is simple. Enough on hand so I'm not stuck trying to protect a home with the cheapest dove loads on the rack. Number 5. 7.62 by 39. A K shooters deal with a different headache than the AR crowd, and it starts with where their ammo comes from. In the American market, 7.62 by 39 has always leaned hard on foreign surplus and foreign commercial ammo, especially Russian and Eastern European steel case. Chinese guns and ammo got cut off in the mid-90s, with a Clinton-era import ban, so that faucet has been closed for decades. Then in 2021, the State Department hit Russia with sanctions that stopped new permits for Russian ammo imports. Existing licenses were allowed to run out, but new approvals were not happening. That move went straight at the cheap steel case stuff a lot of AK owners lived on. Tula, Wolf, Barnaul-style ammo, no cap. Once Russia got choked off, the backup plans shifted to places like Serbia and Bosnia. Parvi Partizan and Igman picked up a lot of demand, often with brass case options, instead of the old-school steel case flow. Now those sources are under pressure too. Serbia has already paused or restricted some arms and ammo exports, and on top of that, you've got new U.S. tariffs hitting Serbian manufacturers, with warnings that a 30+% tariff could push brands like PPU out of the U.S. market altogether if it sticks. That's a lot of volatility stacked onto one caliber. Because of all that, I treat 7.62 by 39 like a finite resource on this side of the ocean. If I own an AK, an SKS, or anything in this caliber, I want a deeper bench than I keep for most handgun rounds, bulk for training, plus a solid stash of soft point or hunting loads that actually group well in my rifle. The goal is simple. I don't want my ability to run that gun hanging on foreign politics and a couple factories an ocean away. Number 6. 308 or 7.62 NATO. For me, 308 sits in that crossover space where hunting, precision, and serious purpose rifles all meet. So I treat it as a priority caliber. No cap. You've got cops using 7.62 NATO for designated marksman roles. You've got bolt guns in 308 in every deer camp in America. And you've got the battle rifle crowd running AR-10 style rifles, SCAR setups, M1 platforms, all of that. When there's a run on ammo, that entire ecosystem pulls from the same pool. Brass, bullets, powder. That's why 308 prices jump hard anytime raw material costs spike or military demand climbs. It has a big footprint, so it reacts fast under stress. Another thing I keep in mind is global events. Western militaries still keep 7.62 NATO in the mix. Machine guns, precision rolls, and conflicts overseas push manufacturers to feed contracts first. Civilian lines don't get totally cut off, but they absolutely get squeezed. Then hunting season hits every year and quietly drains soft point and match grade stock. So you get seasonal demand layered on top of political and economic noise. That's why 308 is rarely truly cheap anymore, and why the good stuff sells out first. If my main rifle for hunting or defense is 308 or 7.62 NATO, I build a stash on purpose. Enough ball ammo to train, enough hunting or match loads that I know my dope. So I'm not re-zeroing because I grabbed random boxes off the shelf. The goal is simple. I want that rifle ready all year and not dependent on whatever happens to be left at the store. Your own oddballs. The last thing I lock in for a real stockpile is the weird stuff I actually shoot. I'm talking 40 Smith & Wesson, 45 ACP, 10mm, 357 Magnum, 44 Magnum, 30-30, 243. Whatever's sitting in the safe that isn't 9mm or 5.56. Here's why I take those seriously. Manufacturers don't run niche calibers nonstop. They run them in batches. So when demand jumps, or factories are backed up cranking out the hot sellers, these oddballs don't get scheduled as often. That's how you walk into a shop during a panic and see random hunting calibers missing completely, while the mainline stuff at least has a few boxes at stupid prices. Damn. Another thing I watch is how fast defensive and specialty loads vanish in these calibers. A lot of folks still carry 40 Smith & Wesson or 45 ACP. Revolver guys love 357 Magnum and 44 Magnum, but premium hollow points, heavy hard cast, bonded loads, those don't sit on giant pallets. Stores keep small quantities because regular traffic is lighter. Then panic hits. People start grabbing just one box or two, and that tiny inventory evaporates. Now you're stuck with sketchy, no-name loads, or nothing at all. I'd rather have my carry loads and my woods loads squared away before that happens. So the way I handle it is boring, but it works. I make a list of every caliber I own. For each one, I set a hard floor for defensive ammo and a separate floor for training or hunting. Maybe it's a few boxes for a revolver I shoot twice a year, and a lot more for a 40 Smith & Wesson duty pistol I run in classes. The key idea is this: if the shelves went sideways tomorrow, I want to be fine running every gun I own off what's already in my house.